Welcome, everyone. So good to see you all. My name is Iran Karimian, head of our Startup and Accelerator ecosystem efforts at Google Canada. Welcome to our 5th Google for Startups Accelerator Canada Demo Day. It's so awesome to see so many of you and our audience. We're live here in Toronto and so many of you tuning in virtually. I believe we're expecting 500 on the virtual stream, so thank you so much for tuning in. But so great to see so many supporters of our 14 incredible technology startups that are in our 2024 cohort. So thank you all so much for being here. Before we get started with our presentations, I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. For thousands of years, Toronto has been a place of gathering and a home for Indigenous peoples. In the spirit of reconciliation, Google Toronto wishes to acknowledge that our office is located on unceded Indigenous lands. We recognize and are grateful for the continuing Indigenous connection to this land where we live, work, and play. So, Google for Startups Accelerators. What is our mission and what is this all about? Why did we start these programs? So these programs were established all across the globe in 2016 to help empower startups to tackle some of the world's biggest challenges with the absolute best that Google has to offer. Over the past 5 years, it's been truly inspiring to engage with Canadian founders and their teams as they've come through this program, and I'm really proud of the impact that they've had in growing their companies and in contributing to the Canadian tech ecosystem. So we opened our accelerator programs in 2020, building on the momentum that we had seen in other countries. And since then, we've run 23 classes for Canadian founders. And that includes, of course, our Canada class. We had a women founders class, a Black founders class, an AI first class, as well as a climate change cohort. We've seen over 100 Canadian companies participate in our programs, and they've come from different industries and different provinces, but all of them truly have incredible ideas and an absolute desire to scale their businesses here in Canada. Google is super proud to be supporting the Canadian tech ecosystem, and we believe in helping the next generation of companies as they grow. And what I really love about this program is that it allows us to support founders all across the country. So we have some founders today from Vancouver, others from Quebec, and over the years we've supported folks in the East Coast as well. We've seen all of our alumni companies raise more than $395 million Canadian and create, yes, woo, thank you. And create over 900 new jobs, which is just amazing. We're really, really thrilled by the success and super excited to welcome the 14 companies that you're going to hear from today to this slide and to these numbers that you see here. And to our alumni, some of you are in the crowd who have been building with us since 2020. Truly, you never cease to amaze us. Your traction, your accomplishments, and the impact that your teams are making is really just so inspiring. And in many ways, your journey has just begun, and we're excited to continue supporting you and your teams moving forward. And we cannot wait to see what you do next. So, we're here today to celebrate the 14 Canadian startups in our 2024 cohort. Can I get another woo? Amazing. I love it. So back in September, we kicked off this program where we brought together 14 exceptional startups from across the country to deliver to them the best of Google's people, programs, products, and technology. It's been an absolute honor working with these teams. So today is really a true celebration to recognize all of their accomplishments and to take a look at where they're all going next. And after 10 weeks, we're here. It's the end of the program. It's our demo day. So it's been really fun, super impactful, and really busy. Our founders have tackled some really big projects around product, design, tech, people, leadership, you name it, they've done it. So it's been really transformational, and we're really excited to share a little bit of that with all of you today. So here's how this is going to work. Each company will have 2.5 minutes to present, and then 1 question to answer an audience, or 1 minute to answer an audience question. These questions were submitted by all of you and our virtual audience ahead of today's event. We'll also take a 30-minute midway break to welcome a few of our guest speakers. These include leaders from inside and outside of Google, who will join us to talk about navigating the Canadian startup landscape. So definitely stick around for that. You won't want to miss it. So, who's ready to hear from our founders? All right. Well, I'm super excited to welcome our first startup team of the day, Transitional Forms. To represent the team, we have Zena and Pietro, co-founders from Toronto, Ontario. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
This beat is fire. Is this Taylor Swift?
I think it was Drake, but
No, I don't know about that. We are so honored to kick things off today. My name is Zena. I am the CEO of Transitional Forms, and on behalf of my co-founders, Pietro, John in the crowd, oh, there he is, and the rest of our team, we are so excited to share with you our vision for the next frontier of entertainment. Woo! Over 200 hours of user-generated content is uploaded to TikTok every single minute. And to keep up to the immense speed of social, young creators are doing something very interesting. You see, Gen Z creators are starting to produce content inside the games that they play, repurposing these open worlds into simulation spaces to express their stories. But platforms like Roblox and Minecraft are built for gaming, and they were never really designed with social stories at their core. And that's why we've built Simia, a new mobile platform that empowers creators to instantly produce social videos using the magic of generative AI.
Hey, Simia, show me Taylor Swift and Drake recording their farts.
Okay, how's this?
Okay, the stank sessions. Are Taylor and Drake in the crowd, by the way? Should have asked that first. Okay, stank sessions. Let's try it.
Hey, yo, Tay-Tay, this beat is fire. What are those waffles?
Yeah, like this is my era, and waffles are winning. Oh my God, that's foul.
Yeah, fam, this gas started from the bottom.
It smells like a Tim Hortons after a Raptors game.
It's God's plan.
It's God's plan, everyone. As you can see, Simia has virtually infinite creative possibilities for character and story worlds, instantly generated with no render time and all from the phone in your pocket. Like entertainment Lego, our patent-pending framework is designed for the future of limitless human creativity, with many ways to monetize, including in-app currency, subscriptions, partnerships, and even a creator marketplace. And our team is uniquely suited for this innovation, with an impressive track record in patents, research, and hundreds of awards and nominations. After all, we were the first to give AI characters agency in a generative film.
Yep.
We made the first video game to allow users to train neural networks inside the game itself, real neural networks. And we pioneered the first ever live stream to generate TV content around the clock. I myself have built and sold an innovation company to Entertainment One, and my awesome co-founders come with expertise in digital production, AAA gaming, and even toy innovation. Simply put, we have the right team, the right tech, and at the right time. So give us your money.
That's right. If you're investing in the future of entertainment, and if you're looking to disrupt the industry,
Then work with us.
and let's transform the future together. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, give it up. Our first presenters. Well done. That was awesome. So now for a question from the audience. Let me see here. Okay. So we can see that you're gathering users for early access, but what's next for Simya?
That's an excellent question. So Simya is currently in closed beta, and we're actively testing to refine its capabilities. And through that process, we've learned about some pretty impressive user behavior. For example, the average user is generating over 20 videos per session. 20 videos, like the one you saw today. You know what that's giving? That's giving meme machine. And it's so validating. And so we're getting ready to launch Q2 of 2025 with your support, of course.
Amazing. All right, one more time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Way to kick us off. Thank you. All right, so up next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Neer, co-founder and CEO of Pulse Medica from Edmonton, Alberta. Neer, please welcome to the stage.
Hi, everyone. All right, so my name is Neer Kaczynski, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pulse Medica. And it is an honor to be part of the Google Accelerator, and our team really appreciates it, and we have some members of our team. So Pulse Medica, we're building a medical device to treat and diagnose eye disease, and we're starting with eye floaters. So as you can see here, these are what you see when you have eye floaters, and I'm sure there's a lot of Googlers out there who are looking at their white screens every day and probably suffering from these floaters on a daily basis. It's almost 2025 and there's nothing available. There's no diagnostics, there's no treatment, and we're here to solve that. So 52% of the population have eye floaters, 5 to 10% of those have what's called severe, really impacting the daily function like reading, driving, writing, and it is a big impact. And we have these daily stories, you know, people are calling us, emailing us on a daily basis, weekly basis from all over the world. And the story here of Jane, it's actually a real story. A mom called us one day in the office and says, hey, my daughter had these severe eye floaters. She has no treatment, she wants to go to university, and she's thinking about committing suicide. And these are tough stories that people are facing, and they don't have a treatment for that. Doctors are frustrated. This is one of the chief patient complaints on a daily basis that doctors are seeing. There's no available treatment options. The only options are either vitrectomy, which is a surgery where they remove all the contents of your vitreous. It carries risks. Or there's a non-approved treatment with a laser called YAG laser vitreolysis. So what we're doing is actually building the world's first 3D image-guided laser treatment system. And we're building it to be office-based to solve this problem. How does it work? So 3 basic ideas. First, we're imaging, detecting, and tracking these floaters in 3 dimensions. We're capturing them in 3D, and then we're zapping them with a femtosecond laser technology very accurately. So this results in 2 products, a screening product and a treatment product, and we filed about 18 patents to date with about 4 approved. We built a world-class team to make this dream a reality, and in terms of our traction to date, so we raised about $15 million, and we're opening right now our Series A fundraising round where we're raising $15 million to make this dream a reality. Thank you.
Fantastic. That was awesome. So now for an audience question. How will your Series A fundraising round accelerate Pulse Medica to commercialization?
Okay, good question. So I have a couple of sneaky slides in here. So one is talking about what we've done so far, which actually right now we have our imaging product that's in the clinics where we acquired already 120 different eyes with different floaters. And we are also right now wrapping up all of our preclinical work to be ready for a first-in-human treatment. And really with the fundraising, what we're doing is really taking the prototypes that we've already built and bringing them to do first-in-human treatments, which is really on our roadmap towards commercialization and then regulatory approvals.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. Okay, up next, I'd love to give it up to Thomas and Renee, introduce them to the stage, co-founders of Envision AI from Montreal, Quebec. So please join me in welcoming Thomas and Renee. Come on up.
Thank you so much, Iran. Envision AI unlocks the value in video content. Let me ask you this. Have you ever struggled to find a specific moment in video library to share? If so, you're not alone. Over 50 million video creators, from media corporations to small businesses, face this frustration every single day. Time-consuming searches, disconnected tools, and unrealized value. It's a billion-dollar problem, and we have a solution. Video Views automatically understands every element of your video, from visuals to objects, speech, and semantics, turning them into smart, searchable metadata. With Video Views, you can organize your library automatically, find and create new clips with ease, all while cutting costs by up to 8 times. We provide value 3 ways: smarter metadata for efficient asset management, better discoverability to unlock revenue, and faster workflows that save up to 80% in costs. It's a $100 billion market, and the opportunity is immense. Our proprietary patented technology delivers metadata that's 50% more accurate than competitors. That means better search results, smarter recommendations, and more impactful content creation. With Video Views, you can find anything. People, objects, words, or actions. Simply type a query. Video Views makes your entire library instantly searchable at the frame level. Every video in your library gets a comprehensive AI-generated summary, presenting clickable key moments and scenes that can be shared, saving hours of manual review. What about competition? Let's compare Video Views and Microsoft's ability to find frames with a character present. In the example clips, Video Views captures 100% of her appearances in an action scene, while Microsoft's shorter result misses her completely. On average, Video Views is twice as accurate as its competitors.
With over 100,000 videos processed for hundreds of companies, we build strong partnerships from major studios to small content creators. Over the last 25 years, Thomas and I have turned innovative ideas into scalable solutions in various verticals. Our applications have been used by millions. Please scan the QR code and get your exclusive access to Video Views today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so a question from our audience is, how does Video Views reduce costs in video production?
Thank you. That's a great question. Well, an example is media companies. Many of them have tons of legacy assets, and they want to remonetize some of them. So that involves their post-production team, spending lots of time watching and searching through hundreds of videos and to reformatting video clips on specialized workstations. This is highly inefficient, time-consuming, and expensive. Video Views will resolve this challenge in 1/10 of the time by anyone on a simple web browser.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'll grab the clicker. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's keep this rolling. So up next, I'm pleased to introduce Alex, co-founder and CEO of Streamline from Kitchener, Ontario. Alex, come on up.
Hi, everyone. We're Streamline, and we develop supply chain planning platform with AI for manufacturers, distributors, and retail businesses. I'm Alex Koshulko, CEO and co-founder, as well as PhD in mathematical modeling. $1.7 trillion. This is how much companies lose every year because of shortages and excess. If companies could predict better their demand and supply, they could avoid most problems. Unfortunately, According to research, 69% of companies do not have enough visibility into their supply chain, and 67% do not use advanced planning solutions. Our team has a background in enterprise planning and AI solutions with customers including General Electric, NASA, Honeywell, Canon. So we built Streamline platform using our proprietary innovative technology, and here is how it works. Balancing demand and supply requires accurate forecasts and fast decision-making. AI helps recognize patterns in customer demand and improves forecasting accuracy, while dynamic simulation makes decision-making almost real-time. That allows our customers to reduce shortages by 90% and overstock by 30%, and save 60% of time spent on inventory planning. We serve customers in more than 40 countries. That is possible because of our partner network, which includes over 200 professional supply chain consultants around the world. G2 recognized Streamline a leader in demand planning and supply chain planning suites. And here you can see some logos of our happy customers. According to Gartner, the market will double in the next 3 years. That's really amazing. And we focus on mid-sized companies because we see that this market is considerably underserved. It's worth adding, we are looking to connect with more partners, customers, and round A investors interested in the supply chain domain. Thank you for your attention.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. So, audience question, what is your go-to-market strategy?
Our go-to-market strategy is partner-driven. We let partners spread word about us, and we bundle software with change management provided by our partners. This creates much bigger bottom line and value to our customers.
Amazing. Thank you. Well done. Thank you so much. All right, up next, I'm super pumped to welcome Rob Darling, founder and CEO of RunQL from Waterloo, Ontario. Everyone, please give it up to Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob Darling, founder and CEO of RunQL. RunQL is a smart query platform that supercharges data analysts and developers. 168 billion terabytes. That's how much data the world will create in 2025. That's the equivalent of every person in the world having 20 phones. How do we query that data in a database? We use something called SQL. This explosive growth of data, combined with the pressures on the business to move fast, has made SQL the top technical skill sought after by employers. With all this data, data analysts are dealing with a stream of urgent requests from the business every day. They're hunting for existing queries that they can't find. They're copying and pasting queries between tools, and they're encountering broken queries with no documentation. And on top of that, they're running around changing existing queries when there are database changes. It's chaos, and they're losing 2+ hours a day in using tools that were not built for their needs. So here's what RunQL does. We enable data analysts to write queries faster without rework. We eliminate the chaos in finding and managing queries, and we enable the reuse of trusted queries for their teammates, their business users, and in external dashboards. We're purpose-built for data teams who want to work 5 times faster, eliminate 2+ hours of overhead every day, and have one source of truth for queries. When you click Save in our platform, your query is automatically versioned, documented, and instantly available to your team. You can search by SQL, title, or description, or better yet, just start typing and you'll get full query suggestions. Certified queries and change tracking ensure everyone on the team is using the correct, trusted query. And no more running around when there's a database change. Auto detection of impacted queries allows you to update them all with one click. Getting repeat questions enable users to self-serve from analyst-approved, trusted queries. I'm a multi-time founder with 2 previous exits and a deep background in data, and our team includes talent from Google and YC-backed startups. Try RunQL today. You can start for free with no credit card required. And if you're a data leader in a mid-sized company, let's talk. Thank you.
Woo! Go, Rob. That was awesome. So quick audience question. Won't AI to text SQL replace data analysts?
That's a great question. AI is great for a lot of things, but one thing it's not great at is being deterministic to giving the right answers to users from structured data. So the average accuracy rate on enterprise data for text to SQL is 16.7% on real enterprise data. Now, you can get that a little bit better by using GraphRag. You can get it up to an average of 53%, but that's like flipping a coin. So how we use AI is we augment the data analysts to help them do their jobs faster while still getting the trusted insights to the business users.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Congrats. All right, so up next, I am super pleased to introduce Chandeep, founder and CEO of IACare from Toronto, Ontario. Chandeep, come on up. The stage is yours.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chandeep Madan. I'm the CEO and founder of IACare. About 6 years ago, I got really badly injured. And I had to go to the doctor many times, go to physiotherapy, and it started costing me a bunch of money. And I was like, I have great benefits, but this is getting too expensive. I'm not the only one who has this issue. Canadians, on average, spend $3,500 out of pocket annually for their healthcare. And that's despite employers paying $43 billion in premiums every single year to insurance companies. Something's really broken here. With our solution, we're able to save employers $2,000 per employee per year and save employees in out-of-pocket expenses. How do we do that? We offer something called health and wellness spending accounts. With this, an employer can just give the money to the employee, all tax-free, and every employee can choose for themselves what their benefits should be. Personalized benefits for everybody. It's fully automated by AI, and we give employers the ability to self-manage end-to-end through their portal. They can onboard in less than 40 minutes and onboard all their employees in less than 10 minutes and get started the next day, all driven by AI. And how does it work for employees? All an employee needs to do is use our Visa card, take a photo of the receipt. That's it. We are the highest rated health spending account app in the country today. Here's a video on how it works. So this is a claim submission. And in this, you're seeing that a user has used the card, or if they don't have the card, they can still file a claim to get reimbursed. All they need to do is take a photo of the receipt and fill out basic information on what the category is, what the subcategory is, who it is for, and that's it. Average time to claim is 5 seconds. And you can see in the background, we can extract all the information from the receipt so that nobody has to do manual data entry anymore. It is fully extracted, and our AI is today able to extract 94% of data in real time, and we're able to adjudicate 70% of claims in 1 second. Today, we have more than 180 companies using our product, more than $22 million that's gone through our product, and we're growing 100% year over year. And people love us. Last year, we won the #1 Canadian health impact company throughout Canada out of 80 companies. Shout out. Now, Visa is sponsoring us to increase our presence in the market. And they're sponsoring a nationwide marketing campaign to drive revenue further for Aya. We raised $5 million before. 80% of that went to building out our tech, which is now fully automated. We're raising another $5 million now to get us to 18 million ARR. And 90% of this will go towards sales and marketing. We have a fantastic team. I've personally had 2 8-figure exits before. We've got a great team right here as well. You can speak to them after. But we all built businesses, scaled them, and sold them. Here's my phone number. Give me a call.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now for an audience question. What do you see as the future of IACare?
Thanks, Ron. So we want this to replace your entire health insurance. There's no reason why insurance companies should price gouge everybody in the audience and everybody watching. We're seeing most people not be able to afford their healthcare. Half the world today can't afford their healthcare, according to the WHO. So we want end-to-end self-insurance on this card, and we'll drop down everybody's prices so we can finally have people afford their own healthcare. That's our goal.
Amazing. Well done. I'll grab the clicker. Thank you so much. We are just flying through these presentations. How's everyone doing? Amazing. Okay. So now for our last presentation before our midway panel discussion, please join me in welcoming Raphael, co-founder and CEO of Easy Assist from Toronto, Ontario. Raphael, come on up.
Thanks, Iran. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Nice to see you all. I'm Raphael Rajan, co-founder and CEO of Easy Assist. We're the AI support platform that's purpose-built for franchising. Franchise brands, the core product that they sell is their knowledge, right? It's all of the valuable operating systems, compliance documents, training videos that franchisees really need to succeed. But over time, as these brands scale, that valuable information gets hidden across multiple different technology platforms. They hire franchise consultants, ops teams, members to support, but 40 to 50% of all of that support time is answering the same questions over and over again. When you think about it from a franchisee perspective, on average, they're 55 years old in North America when they're buying into these systems. They have young staff, they have new immigrant staff, they have a ton of questions as they set up and scale these businesses. Their first line of defense today when they have a question is to manually search for information across multiple different technologies to get the answer. It's really hard to do, so they just don't do it. What do? They text, they email, they raise a ticket, hoping to get a timely response. But the ratio of support person to franchisees, even in the best case scenario, is 1 support person to every 50 franchise locations. So they're not getting answers quickly, they're frustrated, and the support burden mounts for the franchise brand. We've solved this with our solution at Easy Assist. Our solution integrates directly into all of the franchisor platforms. We're not another file management system. Through our proprietary multimodal information retrieval model, we're able to pull all of the data from source. And for the franchisees, we've made it as simple as sending a text message to any of the questions that they have and getting instant support through any of their preferred channels. It really is as simple as sending a question in natural language, Easy Assist going and finding all of the relevant pieces of content from the backend and instantly summarizing it with all of the right source links. When our AI agent can't find an answer because there is no content today to respond to it, we have a robust ticketing system in the backend that loops the right support person in. They provide the response, but the AI also learns from it. So making the support system ultimately much more scalable. So value proposition for franchisee, 24/7 access to support, so happier franchisees, and reducing the support burden for franchisors by over 50%. Our founding team brings expertise in strategy, operations, and deep technology to enable us to see our vision of ultimately becoming the universal interface into all of the workplace technologies for franchise and multi-location brands. By starting with search and support, we have a unique distribution into all of the end users and the hooks into all of the franchisor data. And with that distribution, we believe it positions us really well to become the single interface to extract value from the entire tech stack. En route to that vision, we came out of stealth 9 months back, and in that time period, we've signed 24 brands and are now deployed in 2,300 global franchise locations. Thank you. So if you're a customer, an engineer, or an investor, join us in this journey to transform support for franchising and beyond. Thank you.
Amazing. Well done, and congrats on the presentation. So audience question, how do you think about market size and opportunity within franchising, and are there any additional industries that your solution could be used for?
Absolutely. So frank answer here, who thought McDonald's when I said franchising? Right? That's what people typically think, but there's 90 different industries that use franchising as a business model, so it's a big market in its own right. But our vantage point is that if we succeed in franchising, we can take those case studies to any multi-location business, so think gas stations, car dealerships, auto mechanics, hospitality. That market is a $25 billion market. So our goal is to take on the tech stack and vertically integrate within franchising, but then expand to multi-location businesses. Thank you.
Amazing, well done. Click the clicker. All right, so this is a live show and we are ahead of schedule. So we're actually gonna have one more presenter before we jump to our panel discussion, because we are waiting for some of our panelists to arrive. So with that, I'm super pleased to welcome LP, founder and CEO of BioTwin from Quebec City. Please give it up for LP.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here today and introduce to you BioTwin, a human virtual twin company. Before I tell you about the problem that we're tackling, I want to tell you a bit of a personal story about a friend of mine, my next door neighbor, Jean. Jean was 55 years old, very healthy, and took very good care of his health. He started having some small issue, nothing big, but it took 6 months for the health system to finally find out what was wrong. Ended up being pancreatic cancer stage 4. So you'll guess it, Jean is no longer with us today. That's what we're tackling at BioTwin. Jean is not the only one, and there's unfortunately too many undetected or cancer that go unnoticed for too long. By creating a virtual replica of yourself, we can early screen for cancer. And early detection can dramatically increase your survival rate for cancer. That's what we're bringing to the market. First I'll tell you, how do we create your virtual twin? It started by the kit we sent you at home. You give us a drop of blood, you send it back by the mail, it's analyzed in our lab, you connect your different wearables you may have. Using AI, we can track up to 200,000 different biomarkers. That's your virtual you that we will track and follow over time. Applied to breast cancer, it's revolutionary. In terms of cost, it's costing roughly $28,000 to screen for one cancer using mammography. BioTwin can bring that down to roughly $1,000. We can greatly increase access and availability for that screening to everyone. Thank you. We'll be announcing in the next few days a validation project with the Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi that aims to validate our breast and colon cancer technology for early screening. We've got an amazing team of scientists and AI specialists that are backing up creating this technology. We're raising $3 million to accelerate commercialization. We're looking for angel investor. We've got the right technology, we've got the right team, and timing is perfect. So please help us make this a reality. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was really awesome. So, question from the audience. What validation or traction do you have for your solution so far?
As of to date, BioTwin has already collected more than 36,000 samples from users. We created more than 3,000 virtual users. We've got 10 research projects going on, 3 collaborations with hospital, and we also have a clinical trial that was done and underway. So that's what we've done so far.
Amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. jokes, one more session, one more presentation. All right, so up next, I'm excited to welcome Leo, CTO of DFANG from Vancouver, British Columbia. I'll welcome Leo to the stage to share more. Come on out.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here today. My name is Leo, co-founder, CTO of DFANG, the easiest way to develop, deploy, and debug your cloud applications. DFANG is my third startup. The previous startup, we built a cloud app that got acquired by Workday. Building the app itself is hard enough, but if you build for the cloud, you have to think about security, resilience, cost optimization, and ideally avoid cloud lock-in. And how do you do all that? After I joined Workday, I see that big companies have the same problems at an even larger scale. So developing and deploying cloud apps is still too hard. 98% of the respondents report that they're facing a cloud skills gap. An estimated 2025, there's an estimated 7.5 million unfilled cloud engineer positions. So we're building DFANG to solve this problem. What is DFANG? An AI-driven tool to easily develop, deploy, and debug your cloud application. How does it work? It has 3 modules. To start your development, you use the DFANG generate agent. That helps you go from a prompt to an application outline. Then, with a single command, you can deploy that application to your favorite cloud account. We are not hosting it for you. And then, in the same debug agent can help you automatically analyze and fix errors that happen during deployment or at runtime. This turns every developer into a 10x cloud developer. And once they're using DFANG, we can help them with security, compliance, cost optimization, and all that other jazz. Here's a demo. In this demo, I use DFANG generate to create an app from scratch using a language prompt, random Christmas tree image with a Christmas greeting from DFANG on GCP. And here we go. This is the project that DFANG drops you in, and we can deploy it right away. I didn't check. And we deploy using a simple DFANG up command. And this is actually going to Google Cloud Platform in this case. Within minutes, this is sped up a little bit. Within minutes, the CLI tool shows you the URL that got provisioned. I switched to my browser, and this is the website that got created from scratch. And here's the dashboard. You can actually go to your Google dashboard. You're in full control. You're hosting it in your own account. And our users love this. Since our launch in July 1st, we have 7x the users. We're now past 1,500 last week. That is a month ahead of the goal that we set for ourselves. Thank you. So today we're announcing version 1 launch, and this has Google Cloud Platform support. So please give it a try, dfang.io, and download it there. The team is amazing. We met over a decade ago at Microsoft building developer tools. This is the 3rd time we're working together building developer tools yet again, and can't wait to see what you built with it. We're also launching our seed round, so if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. QR code brings you to our email addresses. So thanks, everybody.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Leo. And I'm so happy to see the addition of GCP. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, thanks to you guys.
When I met with the DFANG team months ago, I remember them talking about it, and we're like, okay, how are we going to do this? And then here we are. So this is awesome.
We had great mentorship from you guys. So.
Amazing. So a question from the audience. Can you tell us more about how your AI agent technology works?
Yeah, sure. So we have 3 modules. We use AI agents in 2 of them. So when the generate command that you saw, that's where your language prompt, the programming language of your choice, there's a dialogue happening in the backend to a language model to create that initial project for you. Then the debug module also uses AI agentic technology, where we actually look at errors in your logs, and with the pieces from your project, like files and other logs, go to the language model to figure out what goes wrong, and then we generate a recommendation for you. The 3rd module, the deployment, is completely rules-based. We don't use language model there. So.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Congrats again. All right. So now we are for real going to move on to the panel discussion. So thank you all so much. So super excited to kick off this discussion. We have about 30 minutes to chat with some folks from Google, as well as outside of Google, as we discuss navigating the Canadian startup landscape. So our team is going to just reset the space, and we'll be right back in 30 seconds. But super excited to welcome Corey Jeffries from Inovia, Natasha Walji, head of GCP for Google Canada, and Robin Orford from Google Cloud Canada as well, who leads our VC partnership. So give us 30 seconds, and we'll continue. Thank you. All right, so please join me in welcoming Natasha Walji, Managing Director of Google Customer Solutions in Canada. Natasha, thanks so much for joining us. Corey Jeffrey, Principal and VP Technology at Inovia Capital. Corey, welcome. And Robin Orford, Venture Capital Partnerships Lead with Google Cloud Canada. Robin, come on in. All right, so good to have you all here. Thank you so much for joining us. And Corey, I know the traffic was horrible coming, so thank you so much. So for this discussion, we're going to be talking about the Canadian startup landscape, how AI is really revolutionizing businesses, and what are some of the opportunities and even some of the challenges that the startup ecosystem might be facing right now. But before we dive into all of that, I would love to just take a minute for each of you to introduce yourselves. So maybe you can just share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got into your current role. And Robin, if you'd like to start, feel free.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here. So my name is Robin. I lead venture capital partnerships for Canada. I've been with Google for about 4 years now, and my background's mostly in big tech. So started my career at SAP. At that point, it was like right at the beginning of the transition to SaaS. So that was an interesting sort of transformation to see. And then I did a little bit of a detour into consulting, but I really missed tech. So I had the opportunity to come to Google in a value advisory role, which is kind of like a consulting role with our customers, and ended up working on a partnership deal with a large AI startup. And that was sort of the first of its kind at the time. This was a few years ago. And after that, I just thought to myself, like, what are we doing in the ecosystem to work with more of these types of companies? And obviously the accelerator had been running for a while since then, but other than that, we didn't have a huge footprint in what we were doing. So just sort of asked around, and then, it led to this opportunity. And so I started this role in Canada. I'm the first person to do this particular role within cloud.
Amazing. Well, we're so happy to have you. Thank you. Corey.
Awesome. I'm just looking at a picture of myself. I can tell how long it's been since I've had a haircut. Oh, shit. All right, so what do? I'm Corey. I'm a principal investor in the VP Technology at Inovia Capital. For those of you who aren't familiar with Inovia, it's the largest full-stack fund in Canada. Full-stack meaning invest from first checks in all the way up to pre-IPO and everything in between. We have about $2.5 billion under management, 7 active funds. I particularly focus on practical applications of artificial intelligence. And so deals like Cohere, Spellbook, Reliant, ScribeNote, those are all deals that fall in under myself and Steve Woods. How did I get here? How does anyone become a VC, right? Mostly by accident, probably. Like, my life is sort of like sitting in the back of a truck looking backwards. I'd like to ascribe some sort of like meaningful path, but my background is actually in metaphysics and philosophy, and then I was going to be a professor, and then I ended up getting pulled into the Waterloo tech ecosystem where I ran something called Hyperdrive, which actually Rob Darling is here somewhere. There he is. Yeah. His first company was in Hyperdrive, which at the time Y Combinator had just started, Techstars had just become a thing, Canada was starting all of these accelerators, and so this was like 40K into the first, early companies, 2 people with an idea sort of thing. And I did that in Waterloo for a while, was pretty successful, at which point I was then sucked into Google, where I oversaw engineering operations in the country for the better part of a decade and grew that from around 200 people when I started across 3 offices to about 2,000 when I left.
Wow, that's amazing.
Lots going on. And then, great people, in life, it's too short not to work with great people. So some of my mentors from Google, Patrick Bichette, used to be the CFO, Steve Woods, who was my boss and ran Google engineering in Canada, went to Inovia, and so here I am, being a VC again.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome, Corey. Great to hear that, and thanks for everything you've done for our market. We appreciate it. We have one connection, which is one of the reasons why I'm here too, is because I was hired by Patrick Bichette as well. So I'm really grateful to him and everything he's done for our market. So I've been at Google for 15 years. I can't even believe I'm saying that. I feel like I've grown up here. I today have, I feel like, one of the best jobs in the whole market because I get to work with thousands of SMBs across Canada to help them scale and grow using Google's AI in our marketing products. So that's kind of what I do day to day. And my journey to get here, I guess, was a little bit different. I started as a software developer, so that was great writing code back then. And now seeing what's happening now is very, wow, amazing. But I started as a developer, had the chance to work for my dad. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then went off to business school, and then was given advice that I shouldn't go deeper in computer science, but should go get an MBA. I don't know if that was the best advice, by the way. But anyhow, I did it, and then I ended up at McKinsey for almost 5 years, and then landed at Google. And then in Google, I was in strategy finance, and then here I am now on the sales side. But one of the most formative experiences for me was actually working for my dad. He had a fintech company in Atlanta. It was private equity bought, and I was the lead developer to help him launch a product to market. And honestly, that's why I have so much heart for this ecosystem, because I just saw like the sweat equity, the ingenuity, the creativity, and how much hard work goes into these businesses. My dad was like the CEO, and it was really, really hard, but also one of the most formative career experiences I've had. So that's a bit about me.
Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for being here, and I'm really excited to chat. Sounds like you all have a really diverse, but startup entrepreneurial type of background. So excited to discuss today. So my first question, Corey, is for you, and really it's from an investor's perspective, what are some of the most promising areas of investment within Canada's current tech ecosystem?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So much going on right now.
Yeah.
I think that, okay, so what's happening right now? And because we're at an AI day, general base models provided by likes of Google and OpenAI and Cohere and others, the pace of change has been astounding since the 5 years ago in the Transformer paper. But if you were to look at the general benchmarks, they seem to be coalescing on things. So a lot of customers are moving towards actual benchmarks, so use case benchmarks, right? On their specifically what they're trying to accomplish. Consumer adoption of AI is high. Enterprise adoption is lagging. That's usually true, but obviously enterprise pays for the consumer adoption because people lose money every time they sell to a consumer, at least those who build the models. So what does that mean? That means that you're probably going to see in a little while the much more strategic, deep end-to-end solutions from big providers, right? Which means for you people specifically, people are going to come up the stack into your spaces, and so that's interesting. If we drew it on a whiteboard, every time you have this sort of like technology moment, and I've lived through a couple anyways, cloud and mobile, it's like everybody at this stage of the stack is trying to become something else. right? So the hardware providers are trying to become software companies. Look at NVIDIA, very big push. Big software hyperscalers, cloud providers are building their own chips. Google has for a long time, Amazon, everybody else, while also coming up into the application layer. Application companies are trying not to be, what would I call it, like, made irrelevant overnight because something happens within the base model, so they build down. So it's a time of like incredible flux and change. So where are we investing in things? We kind of think about this, like we're a general purpose VC, so we have specific verticals we're interested in, but it's not about those verticals specifically. Think about it in two sort of ways. We've done some of our base level, like so large language model investing in coherent poolside, so that's expensive. We're just not going to do more of that because that's a sort of like a space race that has congealed, I think. But when you look at the application layer, there's sort of two profiles that I think of. There's what I would call an experimentalist, which is domain expert, deep understanding of a customer problem, and uses the most recent interesting hammer to bring a ton of value to a workflow, right? And we see this in legal has this huge application of adoption right now, and creative is another one. And a lot of the majority of the value that we're seeing at the enterprise level is sort of there, right? And then the other profile is the technologist, which is like, I have a reason to own a model, therefore I'm not going to use APIs or something else. And I'm going to differentiate by taking an open source model, creating a narrow model. And that's a harder bet, and you get less velocity, but there's a bunch of use cases that are like, you need to be 99.99% accurate, and you're not going to just get that by fine-tuning an out-of-the-box model. We've made some of those bets, but those are more narrow. Less people. You need to be a model expert to do that. Not all companies are model experts. Anyway, so those are some thoughts.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Natasha, I'm curious in your role. You're working with a lot of SMBs, some startups as well. And so when we think about tech and AI adoption, what are some of the biggest opportunities for businesses who are adopting AI, and what's the impact?
I mean, the impact is massive. I think we know that. It's exponential over time. We see the S-curve of adoption is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen, and we've already seen it already. What I'll share is a kind of a functional lens when looking at businesses. So there are like 4 functional areas where we're going to see the biggest productivity unlock. It's research and development, engineering, customer operations, and sales and marketing. I think some of you may have heard this on our last earnings call. Our CEO, Sundar, shared from Alphabet that 25% of our code now at Google is AI-generated, new code. So 25% of our new code generated at Google is generated by AI. It's obviously reviewed by engineers, don't worry. So don't be alarmed by that. But I think that's very profound, having been a developer myself and seeing what's possible. I have even people that are in sales on my team that are auto-generating JavaScript now. And I'm like, oh my God, I used to do that and search for that online and tweak my code and the thing wouldn't compile. But it is absolutely remarkable to what we're seeing there in the engineering front. I think perhaps one of the most interesting areas that I look at quite closely is actually in the sales and marketing area. And that's because it's closest to your customer. And I think when you're a founder, you need to learn from your customer. And so here are some thoughts I have for you. I know on a recent study that McKinsey did, 70% of customers or businesses that leaned into AI for sales and marketing saw an improvement in profitability. So I think that's one thing to take away. They saw costs reduce and revenue go up. I think some of the 2 or 3 use cases I would think about in the sales and marketing area is number 1, using AI for insights to learn about consumer behavior. And a couple of the tools that I look at is Google Analytics. I really love that, or pick your choice there. But understanding the consumer's path to purchase, where there's drop-off, I think that's a very powerful tool for improving your products and services. And I imagine many of you are online, or many of you are B2C or B to little b. This will be important. I heard the laugh in the back. Thank you. Little squeal there. So that's one great use case. I think also Notebook LM is, I think, one of the most powerful tools for founders and SMBs. If you're not using it, check it out. Honestly, it is profound. You can upload customer data, analyze it, summarize it. So that's the first thing, understanding consumer behavior and helping it inform your product and services. The second, I think, use case, I think, Corey, you touched on it perhaps in a different way, is creative. So we are really trying to level the playing field for SMBs at Google. We have now a lot of creative tools that can enable you to develop video, develop display, marketing assets, et cetera, to help you go to scale or go to market pretty easily and do that in a scaled way. So I think that's really great for SMBs that may not have the ability to hire very expensive creative agencies. And the last one, which I think is the best, is profit-driven marketing. So the old age adage of like, I put $1 into marketing, I don't know where 50% of it goes. Can anyone guess how old that quote is? It is over 100 years old, which I was stunned by. I'm like, why are we still using this? That's not going to be a thing anymore, because when you put $1 into marketing, you should be able to know the ROI. And that's the future and the current of marketing. Marketing needs to shift from a cost center to a profit center. And I work with some of my best customers and SMBs that are scaling up, recognize that. They're like, Google, I want to give you $1. Can you generate 5 for me in ROI? And that's kind of the future of marketing. And now we've got products and tools that enable you to do that, both within search ads and also Performance Max, which is a new tool that enables you to basically drop your marketing assets and your ads across all of our kind of platforms and actually drive towards an ROI that you give the system. So that's the constraint the system gets. So those are some of the key areas within sales and marketing, and I think much more to follow, and excited to see the impact.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And do you see any industries or specific sectors that are really leading the way in this transformation?
Yeah, so I'll first touch on one thing, which is I imagine you all know this, but I'll underscore this, and we'll have to see how things go with the election and everything. But export's going to be a massive opportunity. So having presence in the U.S., and this is going to be important, I think, just for all industries, to think about that. And that's because it seems like the American consumer is just more receptive to innovative ideas. And I've heard this repeatedly from many founders over the years that, hey, I tried to sell it in Canada, but when I went to the US, I had much faster adoption. And then when I took it back to my customers in Canada, they're like, oh, Americans are using it. Great, I will use it. So that's just one thought there. And again, digital platforms can enable you to reach the American consumer, again, in a profit-driven way to help you scale profitably. From an industry landscape, I feel like I know retail and financial services are really interesting, both ripe for innovation and also thinking about the kind of consumer flow and the buy flow and how you actually reach the consumer. I think about it from a retail perspective, supply chain, inventory management, all of that. Many of my customers are using AI to figure that out and do forecasting on their business, because I think that's a really hard problem to solve. But if you can actually use AI to do that, you can have a competitive advantage and be more profitable. In financial services, I think that, again, the US market is very interesting, different market, of course. And I know we've got a lot of Canadian startups here, but I think, again, the same example. I think consumers are tired of the traditional lens on these industries. And so if you can offer a loan or a credit card or insurance more efficiently, we see many Canadian brands like Zensurance, for example, changing the game by making that frictionless and easy. And I think AI plays a significant role there. So those are the two industries that come to mind.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I always love our conversations because you have so many great stats and insights and anecdotes. So, Robin, a question for you. I know you, in your role, you work with a ton of VCs, a lot of ecosystem partners, and you get to engage with a lot of startups too. So, I'm curious to hear from you. But Robin, Natasha, feel free to build if there's any great opportunities that in this current moment that Canadian founders are experiencing, and then on the flip side, if there's any challenges as well.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe I'll start on the challenges side. Sure. So I think high level, a few of the ones that I'm seeing. First of all, the funding environment. So I keep hearing that it's a little bit softer than it has been over the last 3 years. There's some speculation that, recent policy changes might affect kind of the angel environment, especially around those tax policies. And then, on the growth side, Canada, I think, maybe isn't necessarily the strongest spot for growth stage investing. But on the flip side of that, that's some of the data, and that's sort of like what the reports are saying. But in my experience, working firsthand with VCs every day, there are just so many early stage investors that are so passionate about the Canadian ecosystem and have a lot of money to deploy. Yeah. So I don't know. There's a bit of a dichotomy there that I don't know how to bridge. Yeah. And then on the growth side, obviously, Inovia has been a backbone of the growth stage capital environment in Canada for a long time, and you have a recent new growth fund as well that you're deploying. Yeah. And then folks like Radical Ventures has a huge growth stage fund, about $800 million. So I think, there is an optimistic story about the funding environment. And if I were a founder, I would not be overly worrying about that. Other challenges for founders, I think, are just sort of the typical challenges in this rapidly changing technology environment. So differentiation, I think, is a really constant challenge for founders. And when you think about differentiation, there are kind of like three facets of that. One is, especially if you're an AI company, so you can differentiate on the model side if you're doing sort of frontier or foundational stuff. As Corey mentioned earlier, that area is sort of like congealing a little bit, so maybe that shouldn't be a huge focus unless you are really deep into like the research academic environment. You can also differentiate on your data. So think about what unique data. Data is a huge challenge, even for hyperscalers like Google that are building models. Data is a challenge. So if you can differentiate on some unique data, that's a great way to focus and address that challenge. And then I think a third challenge is, developing a unique and really special customer experience. So whoever your customer is, whether it's a B2B or a B2C solution, differentiating on that. And then I think the third challenge, just generally speaking, is, and Corey, you probably have more insights on this as well, is I think early stage, there's a little bit more of an expectation of revenue generation early. So finding your first customers and where are those? I think on the B2B side, Canada can be a bit challenging because our mid to large enterprises are maybe a little bit more slow moving and slow to adopt. But then again, on the flip side of that, we have great institutions like Vector Institute, for example, that's working with our large enterprises to adopt AI. So yeah, I think those are kind of like the challenges that we're seeing. And also I think to address that revenue growth and early customer adoption, don't be afraid to look to the US for your first customers as well. They adopt pretty quickly and they're interested in new innovations. Canada is as well, but don't be afraid to broaden your horizons there. And then I think just general strengths of the Canadian ecosystem, talent is obviously a huge one. So, I think Toronto and Montreal are some of the fastest growing cities in terms of new tech talent that's emerging. So as you're building out your teams and getting really the smartest folks at your startups, you're in a good spot. So that's something to be really optimistic about. And I think, just like the supportive ecosystem, we have a great network of accelerators, obviously the Google Accelerator that you're running here, Iran, but like Accelerator Center, DMZ, like we just have so many great accelerators, and Vector Institute and Mila are there supporting startups as well. So a lot to be optimistic about and just a great support system here in Canada, I think.
Yeah, and a huge plus one to that. I know a few of our friends and our partners are in the crowd and are tuning in. Like I think my experience, especially being in this role for almost 4 years now, is that it's such a collaborative ecosystem. The work that everyone's doing just seems really complementary, and really everyone's looking out for like the greater good of the ecosystem and the startups and the founders and ensuring that they have the resources that they need. So a huge plus one to that. I think it's like what we have in Canada is really special. Okay, so a question for everyone. We're nearly at the end of our panel discussion here. So I guess just looking ahead, what are some of the predictions for the future of the Canadian tech ecosystem over the next maybe 5 to 10 years? And maybe what are some of the emerging trends and opportunities we should be watching out for? Natasha, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I feel like we're at a really interesting crossroads. I feel like in so many ways, Canada was the birthplace of AI. We have brilliant researchers. We have Nobel laureates from Canada. Our production on research papers around AI was bar none. But at the same time, we're lagging on productivity. And when you look at an OECD survey on how Canadians feel about AI, it's pretty lagging in the world. But I think we've got a massive opportunity ahead of us. We ran an economic impact report, Public First did, and they highlighted that in Canada, the opportunity is over $230 billion in productivity unlock from generative AI. That is massive. That's like 10% of our GDP. And if you look at the composition of our economy, we need to find something additionally to help fuel our economy in the future. And this is it. And I just want to echo some of the comments here. I think the combination of our infrastructure, brilliant talent, including a very thriving startup ecosystem. Thank you for everything that all of you do. And brilliant investors. I think we've got all the ingredients to kind of go front foot on AI. We just need to move faster. And I think that will be really imperative in the coming months and years ahead.
Okay. All right. As the non-Google employee here, not on any corporate safe stuff speech. Not that that's what Natasha did.
Corey, come on now.
I know. I can just say shit that you can't do. Okay. Let me start with the bear case, but I'll end on hope, so don't get depressed with me here. Okay. The next 5 years is like super interesting, right? Like what does Canada win on typically? Access to talent, world-class talent, typically at a lower cost, right? Access to the world's largest market right below us, and a friendly ecosystem to build a company in, right? Those are sort of the three things. We could add other things. All right, so where are we at today, and what does that look like for the next 5 years? All right, so if you were to talk to the top universities in Canada, so University of Waterloo is the biggest CS program, actually in North America, is one of the top ones, University of Toronto, McGill, others. Don't send me hate mail if I left your alma mater off. There's others, but they would tell you that about a quarter of their top graduating class, like the top of their class, are all foreign-born students. They're all immigrants, right? A lot of their best professors are foreign-born students. And so that is a strength of ours, which we are currently slashing right now, right? And I tell you, I've talked to many university presidents, and this is a worry of theirs. This is like, how do I keep the professors? How do I get the best students? And yes, many of them leave the country after, but many stay as well. So that's a thing. Okay, so then access to the US market. Let's not get political, but there's going to be tariffs, right? That's going to impact everybody in this room some way. So that's going to get really interesting in the next 5 years. And then the ecosystem in which you're building your startup. Okay, building a startup is an incredibly irrational thing to do. You all know this, right? Statistically, many people are going to fail. That's just the math, right? But you do it anyways. And you're being sort of, the value equation in order to do that with your life, and I know not all of you are doing it for money, but that's getting less. And what's worse is not for you, it's for your first employees, your first, second, third employees, because for them, their value equation and ownership is way less than yours, right? And so for them to make that jump and spend time with you and your startup to try to get that big outcome is making less and less sense. So that's one part of the how it's happening in the Canadian ecosystem that's hamstringing you. The second thing is, look, we're on the cusp of doing something weird, which is making anyone who even touches a model, liable in some way, right? The policy here is very obscure. This happened in Canada in the 80s in the aviation manufacturing space, where at one point it went right down to like, if you have a bolt that goes into a plane, you're liable for a plane crash. And the whole thing moved to Europe, and that's how Airbus happened. Like, that is a thing that happened. It took about 15 years for it to come back. So, like, we're on the precipice of, so I'm 50-50, okay? Are we gonna shoot ourselves in the face, or are we going to figure our shit out? I'm sort of half and half. Okay, so then end on hope. Why am I hopeful here, right? We invest the majority of our capital in Canada. How many people in this room are founders? Right, okay, so this is why we're hopeful, right? In spite of all of that, you are deciding to spend your time doing the irrational thing from this place, right? And Canada is a culture of creativity and invention, has been for a very long time. And so, never waste a good crisis would be Winston Churchill. And there we have crises around us, many and big. And so hopefully, those of us who support the ecosystem, and all of us on this stage support the ecosystem, you are the ecosystem, can hopefully create an ecosystem that tilts you towards winning rather than gets in your way. And so that's what I'm hopeful in the next 5 years.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, super candid response. So I'll go one level higher. And I think, when we think about the future of Canada, there are a few verticals that we do really well. So I was recently out west in October. I went to the Banff Venture Forum, and really great clean tech companies there. And this is an area where I was just visiting my team in New York earlier this week, and they were saying clean tech is going down in the US, like less investment. It's going up in Canada. So there's record highs for clean tech investment. I think we do health tech really well, fintech, advanced manufacturing tech, like Waterloo is just like a hub of that. So yeah, I think when it comes to specific, really use case, value-based solutions that we bring to the world, we're doing a really good job of that in some really interesting and valuable sectors. So yeah, I just see those growing over the next 5 to 10 years. And then you also were asking about emerging trends. So just speaking, technology-wise, areas like streaming AI is a huge one, spatial AI. The teams at Google that are building these foundation models are focused on like the capabilities, so like reasoning and grounding in their models. So, all of these foundational capabilities are going to be growing from the hyperscalers and the model builders. And that's an opportunity for, I think, startup founders to think about ways to apply those to really interesting use cases. So new capabilities, really interesting stuff, just technology-wise is coming out. So check out the Astra demo if you haven't seen it already, because that's a really good streaming AI use case.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I think we have time for one more question, and I guess I'll just leave it with, what we just saw a show of hands, a lot of founders in the room. So any final words of advice, guidance, inspiration for the founders in our cohort and all the rest that are in the room as well?
Okay. Be customer obsessed and iterate based on what your customer cares about. And also have a very clear way to articulate the value to your customer. Because sometimes I think everyone does this. We can get lost in building and we get really excited about what we're building. But you'll grow more rapidly and you'll gain more traction if you are just obsessed with your customer and really trying to serve them in a way and bring value to them.
Love that.
Okay. All right. So I'll say 3 things quickly. One is don't fall in love with the technology. Nobody gives a shit how you deliver the value, right? Like the end customer is buying an outcome, not whether you build it this way or that way. And we've seen many companies that build excellent technology that go nowhere. So don't have that blinder on. The second is experiment like crazy. And experimentation looks different today than it did 10 years ago. We have seen companies that have really awesome, sort of been around a long time engineers who refuse to adopt new ways of developing and are going exponentially slower. Maybe they're right at scale. I don't know. But you can go a lot faster in the early stages by being open to experimenting with new development technologies. And then the last one is don't be afraid to be boring. Like a lot of the greatest companies that we are going to see using transformer-based solutions are not about doing something flashy. It's about finding something that some people call pass the butter operations, right? Which is like really rudimentary value that you can add. The whole agentic thing, and I feel like agentic is like saying Web3. Who the hell knows what people mean when they say that? But if what you mean is like some sort of like system of a plan with a process underneath so you can do multi-step reasoning, that has the added advantage of replacing software costs, but also labor cost, right? And labor cost is the biggest cost at any company. So don't be afraid to do boring things to replace the biggest cost. Those are my 3 pieces of advice.
Awesome. I'll add three more. Number 1, solve a problem uniquely that people care about. I know you're all doing that, but do it in a unique way. Secondly, I loved your point on experimentation. It's basically 1% every day. I love the Atomic Habits book. If you've not read it, check it out. But 1% every day will have a 37x impact by the end of the year. So just remember, some days may not be the 10x you're looking for, but if you're doing 1% and moving in the right direction, that's most important. And lastly, I can just imagine how stressful it can be being a founder, just having seen my dad as a serial entrepreneur. And so one of the quotes that I often share with founders is self-care is giving the world the best of you, not what's left over of you. So don't forget to take care of yourself. The world is betting on all of you to solve big problems and make a difference, so make sure you take care of yourself.
I love that. Thank you so much. Self-care, what's your 1%? Experiment, be customer focused, do boring things, right? Thank you all so much. This has been an awesome discussion. I really appreciate you each taking the time. We're going to reset and keep going with the presentations. Thanks so much. Thank you. How we doing, folks? Everyone feeling good? All right. I know our virtual audience really enjoyed that panel discussion, and I hope you all did as well. I thought it was really insightful. So we're going to keep going with our presentations. So now I'm super excited to introduce John, co-founder and CEO of OKRX from Mississauga, Ontario. Please give a warm welcome to John.
Hello, everyone. I'm John. I'm the CEO from OKRX, where we are building smarter and faster prior authorization systems. Prior authorization is when your insurance company needs an approval before paying for your medication. Typically, this approval comes from a 4 to 6 page form, you can see a copy of one there, that the patient and the prescriber have to complete and sign. What's crazy about this process is that some insurers mandate fax, and today, still over 50% of doctors prefer fax. So in this market, fax is king. And when fax is king, the process is going to be expensive and slow. Well, how expensive, you ask? In 2023, pharma spent over $200 million to support this process. How slow? Well, pharma lost over $300 million in sales as patients waited for their approvals. And this isn't going away. This year, there's 650,000 of these prior authorizations. And by 2030, there's going to be over 1 million of them. Now, I know this process well. My last company had over 400 employees, and we sent out over 250,000 faxes in 2017 to support this process. So I knew there was a better way, and I started OKRX. At OKRX, we make a digital clone of the insurer's prior authorization form. This form looks and acts exactly like the insurer's form, but our version supports digital tools. We facilitate everything from starting the form, populating the form, collecting information and signatures, and finally, submitting to insurers. And very unique to our solution is the ability to switch back and forth between digital and fax seamlessly. The benefits of OKRX were very easy to see in our pilots. We saved preparers of forms, signers, and insurers anywhere from 60 to 94% of their handling time. So let's see how this works. Here's a form that was started in OKRX. The form is pre-populated. It's ready to collect information or signatures. And basically, we're going to click here to send a request to a prescriber or a patient. We select a communication method, and then select the fields we want the patient or prescriber to fill out. They get a link. They click the link to respond to the request, and then they're done. Now, that was the digital flow. To send a fax, the sender would follow very similar steps. Of course, the physician would be dealing with the fax at that point. When the fax comes back, OKRX automatically matches the incoming fax with the outbound request. We then automatically compare each page and identify which pages have new information so that the user can complete the form and submit to the insurer, all from one system. We have successfully partnered with many industry leaders. The market opportunity is large, and we have achieved early traction, hitting $2 million in ARR this year. Our team is ready to revolutionize the prior authorization process, and if you're interested in what you heard, we're looking to connect with investors who have interest in pharma and insurance, and advisors who can help us scale our offering. Thanks, and I look forward to connecting with many of you later.
Amazing. All right, so for an audience question, what are your biggest, getting away from fax is a big barrier. What are your plans here?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's true, it is a big barrier, and there's a lot of motivation to do this now, but in 2025, we have commitments from pharma companies and patient support programs to year end to give us about 40% market share in this market in Canada. So we'll be doing about 20,000 prior authorizations a month. That's the first challenge, is getting forms started in our platform, and we have a good story there. Next, we have the strong adoption with patients, with over 95% of patients preferring digital interactions. So the only group left is prescribers. Today, approximately 30% of prescribers work with us digitally. And as our market presence grows, our focus for our development teams, our marketing teams, and our engagement teams will start shifting to prescribers as we hope to move them away from fax. We feel like we have a lot of momentum behind us to help solve this problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Grab that. All righty, I'm super excited now to welcome CEO of Handy AI, Irina, based out of Toronto, Ontario. Irina, please join me on stage. Looking forward to hearing you present. There you go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Irina Dushenka, and I'm so happy to give you some about Handy AI. So after years in corporate business, I learned that customer success is a key driver for growth. As a small business owner, I realized it could be also the biggest barrier. Handy AI solves this $50 billion problem by providing SMB with multi-agent customer success hub. With understaffed teams and lack of expertise, SMBs lose 1 out of every 5 new opportunities and 1 out of every 3 existing clients. It's $500,000 in lost revenue. It's created this vicious cycle. No profit, no profit. SMB make up 98% of businesses in Canada, and 72% of their owners report feeling burned out and struggling to grow. Just imagine. The fear of adopting AI makes things even worse for them. Handy AI Assistant guides customers through any communication channel, speaking their languages and involving humans when needed, from the first interaction to being loyal and regular customer. It's easy for non-digital employees, like a salon administrator, for example, to operate through intuitive control panel available in multiple languages, which is important for new immigrants, directly from the chatbot in any messenger or any desktop. So we break this cycle. We help SMBs boost revenue up to 38% persons, which can mean $350,000 annually by increasing capacity and closing expertise gaps without growing the team or adding costs. Our industry-ready solutions deliver results within weeks, reducing lost opportunities and clients while turning one-time buyers into loyal subscribers. The AI agent market is growing 35% annually, projected to reach $70 billion by 2027, with SMBs $7 billion. Capturing just 0.5% of SMB market could generate $35 million in revenue. SMBs want all-in-one solution that is as easy as possible to adopt. Unlike the competitors, we do this and we goes beyond, serving as a central hub, integrated with any tool on their choice and making us more about collaboration than competition. Our amazing team is ready to scale, combining expertise in AI-driven dialogues, workflows, and marketing. We aim for five-time growth by partnering with trusted marketing and digital agencies in 2025. Next, we'll co-sell on platforms like Wix and Zendesk, and we plan to grow with Google to enhance Gemini, Workspace, and Google AI tools for SMBs. In early 2025, we are opening $1.5 million seed round, $1 million for marketing and sales, and $500,000 for product development, targeting 10 times growth by 2027. Join us to help us turn customer success from a barrier into a real growth engine for SMBs.
Thank you so much, Irina. So a question that was submitted from the audience is, do you think mid-sized businesses are ready to invest the time and effort needed to integrate AI solutions?
Thank you. Great question. They really want. And at the same time, SMBs want it to be fast, free trial, given results in a few weeks, and no adoption. And so we try to give them this, and even more, we propose them to try with low-risk use cases, for example, scoring their customers, grouping them, and giving them quick value. And what else? With industry-ready solutions and our partnership with marketing and digital agencies, we ensure that SMB feels secure.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Irina. Well done. I'll grab this. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, 3 more presentations. I'm excited for you to hear from the remaining 3 founders. So now please help me in warmly welcoming Dr. Mohsen Omrani, co-founder and CEO of Opt Health from Toronto, Ontario. Dr. Mohsen, come on up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this great opportunity. There are more than 60 million patients living with mental health problems in US and Canada, and despite more than $250 billion in annual expenditure, more than half of them do not receive any care for their problem. That is because our current model of care delivery is not scalable. Evidence-based practices, which have been the cornerstone of modern medicine, require objective evaluation of patients' situation and recommend an action accordingly. However, in mental health, we are still relying on subjective evaluation of patients' problem, and the absence of objective evaluation, evidence-based practices and scalability becomes impossible. And that is exactly what we do at Opt. We use machine learning and AI algorithms to make objective measurement of patients' mental status based on their subjective narrative and provide clinicians with actionable insights about the best next step for their patients' care. Now, we could design a criteria to triage patients based on the severity of their problem and provide care accordingly. Using these algorithms, we were able to shorten the wait time to receive psychiatric care by 60% and provided 2 to 5 times ROI for the health organizations through operational efficiency, yet not sacrifice the quality of care. what differentiates us, our solution, is our depth of data analytics integration and clinical validation. We work with a lab of more than 20 researchers out of our chief medical officer's lab at Queen's University who help us ethically collect, label, and develop our proprietary data sets. And we have done more than 15 clinical trials together, published more than 30 peer-reviewed articles, and more importantly, we recently started a partnership with Mayo Clinic, giving us access to more than 2.7 million patients' data. And we are the thought leaders and pioneers in this field. We have literally been commissioned by Springer Nature to write the first handbook on how to do online psychotherapy 6 years ago. And we have multiple awards from reputable organizations like American Psychiatric Association and World Economic Forum. Now, we have to date more than $2 million in revenue, mostly from Canada, including from TELUS Health, which is the largest telemedicine company in Canada. We have been building our US market pipeline, but significant sales outreach in the US market is pending capital raise. We are backed by a group of experienced medical, technology, and business development experts, especially in the US market, and we are raising our first institutional round of $3.5 million. We are extremely capital efficient, doing all of this I mentioned so far by just raising $1.3 million. And as I mentioned earlier, we are raising this round to supercharge our growth sales activities in the US market. Through the course of medical history, there have been inventions that drastically change the medical outcome, like introduction of antibiotics and insulin for pneumonia and diabetes. We are also on a mission to change the future of mental health care, and I hope you would join us so we can do that together. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So for an audience question now, there are many health apps out there and products in the market. What's your main unique value proposition compared to them?
Yeah, so beyond clinical validation, most of the companies in this space are in the either two end of the spectrum. They're either diagnostic, they use a tool for, use the cross-sectional data like 30 seconds of voice to make evaluation of patients' mental status, but do not have any visibility to what happens to the patients. On the other side, there are those that are trying to be prognostic, using, for instance, historical data like EMR data to make personalized recommendation, but there is no mental health specific data in the EMR. So their recommendations become generalized. We are the only company in this space that have the diagnostic technology and the longitudinal data to be both diagnostic and predictive.
Love it. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so now for our second last presentation of the day, please join me in welcoming Meyer Mechanics, CEO and founder of Vaulty from Toronto, Ontario. Meyer, come on out.
Yeah. Awesome presentations from all the cohort before. Hi guys, my name's Meyer Mechanic. I'm the founder and CEO of Vaulty. And I've got a question to start with the whole audience, which is, how do you know if you can trust somebody you met online? This is a way bigger question than we think about normally, and it affects banks, law firms, governments, and us every day. But for the corporations, it costs more than $2 billion a year. Last month, Equifax put out a report that said more than 90% of fraudulent mortgage applications they get contain at least one false document. Last week, there was an article in the Globe and Mail. More than 10,000 university acceptance letters have been issued fraudulently to people hoping to go to school, crushing dreams and taking money away from them. Vaulty solves this problem by anchoring real people to their digital documents using verifiable credentials. To talk about this, we got to plant the ecosystem. There's three major players: an issuer, which might be a bank, a government, or a university. They issue documents to their users, who might be me, or you, or your family. And we have to take those documents to verifiers, who need to prove that that information is authentic, is valid and actually came from the issuer and was actually issued to the holder. Vaulty does that by creating vaults that link to your decentralized identifier, which is linked to your biometrics to prove that it is you and it came from the issuers. And I have an example. This is the contract that Aran and I signed before I agreed to talk to you today. In it, I agreed to give the speech. If I do a good job, she's going to give me a high five at the end. She validated her identity. We scanned more than 14,000 types of identity from more than 195 countries. We took a selfie to prove that she was live and there, and you can verify all sorts of data on this document. That's a live QR code. You can see that now. This makes us different. Vaulty is creating digital document rails, so we can trust when information goes from organization to person to the people that depend on that information for fraud. And that is taking off. In the last year, we have onboarded more than 700 law firms across Canada. And just last month, and I only get to announce this today, we signed the Government of Canada. Your lawyers use Vaulty. We are building a trust ecosystem where you can verify the information that is going everywhere and be in control of your own data doing it. We have an awesome team that is built up of guys who are ex-RBC, ex-Interac, and the person who built the blockchain that tracks Snoop Dogg's marijuana. We're raising $4 million because in 2 years, we're going to be at 8-figure sales, and we need that money to grow. So if you're interested in talking about a round, scan that QR code, or if you're interested in issuing or verifying or learning more about what we're doing, you can also book a demo. Thanks very much for your time.
High five. All right. Clicker, thank you so much. All right. Well, first off, I want to say your platform is amazing. We did do a little fun demo, and it was so easy to use. So that's amazing. And also congrats on all the traction and success. It's been Government of Canada, that's huge, right? Amazing. All right. So audience question. What makes this different than a digital signature?
So this is different than a digital signature. Where a traditional signature ends is at the screen. What that means is that, I'll give you a better example. There's a lawsuit right now in British Columbia where a husband and a wife are fighting over their divorce. And one of the spouses alleges that the other spouse logged into their computer using their password to sign their divorce papers. That can't happen with us. Because we're validating who's signing, we can prove that the person who has issued that document is doing it, and we can give people the proof that that document hasn't changed or been altered after the fact. So a lot more about the rail systems that prove trust in this ecosystem and playing with your cards open and on the table than something that can't be verified.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and congrats again. All right. How are we feeling? How's everyone doing? Okay, good, amazing. Well, we're at our last presentation of the day. So last but certainly not least, I'm really pleased to introduce Nick, co-founder and CEO of DeepLight. Nick, please join me on stage and close us out. You're welcome.
I'm gonna actually come over to this side of the stage. Give some love to this side of the room. So, hi, everybody. I'm Nick Romano, co-founder and CEO of DeepLight. I've been told to slow down and fill up some of the time that we have available. No, that actually hurt. I can't talk that slow. All right, so DeepLight, we're all about AI at the edge. So what does that mean? So AI, as the name kind of implies, it's AI that's not running in the cloud or in a data center. It's running locally on a device. It could be running in this microphone that I'm holding right now. That's what we mean by AI at the edge. Semiconductor companies recognizing this opportunity have come up with a whole new class of processors called a neural processing unit. These are like lightweight, low-power processors that are purpose-built to run AI workloads in edge devices. So what's the problem? Well, deep learning models, AI models, and NPUs are developed completely independently. So state-of-the-art models are created by researchers. They're designed for data center GPUs. They can be built relatively quickly. They're constantly evolving. The flip side to that, a neural processing unit, a chip, created by chip designers, and literally can take a couple of years to launch and tape out a new chip. So by the time that NPU hits the market over here, the models are over here in terms of their advancement. So there's an incompatibility between state-of-the-art AI models and the state-of-the-art hardware that's hitting the market. So this is a bit of a busy slide, and I won't get into all the weeds here, but basically, if you're an application developer trying to create an AI application for an edge device, you have a lot of work to do to reconcile that incompatibility between the models and the hardware. So all of the work that they'd have to do to train that model and actually modify the architecture manually, try to manually optimize, try to make that model fit onto that processor and make it work, it can literally take months for an application development team to create a product and bring it to market. So this is where deep light comes in. So we basically bridge the gap between these deep neural networks and the AI processors, and we do this for semiconductor companies. So what we do is we will take a state-of-the-art model that is really big and really slow, runs on a GPU, we'll plug it in and connect it to the neural processing unit, and we'll bring them together. And then we run this optimization pipeline, this proprietary pipeline that we've created, and that's where all the magic happens. So we basically transform these big, fat, slow models into tiny, fast, energy-efficient versions of their former self. And not only that, we will, as we're going through that optimization process, we will identify components of that model that are incompatible with the hardware, and we'll fix those incompatibilities. We'll put proxy layers and operations in place to make that model work on the processor. Then we will take that model and create literally hundreds of variations for different types of KPIs and bundle all of these models together into a bespoke model zoo for that specific processor. So basically revolutionizing the way we bring these models and hardware together. So here's a quick video. So if you're an end user, now you're using something called Deep Light Studio. You identify your processor, your application, in this case it's object detection. Each one of these dots represents a model with different KPIs that is 100% certified to work on that processor. So as an end user, you traverse this search space, you find a model that works for you, for your application, you pick that model, you download that model and all the supporting code you need to fine-tune that model and deploy that model to the hardware. So basically with Deep Light, we're essentially disrupting the whole edge AI space with this time-to-market paradigm where we take what formerly would take months, really literally down to hours to deploy a model on an NPU. The ROI for end users is obvious. If you can get your application built that quick, you can get your product into market significantly faster. If you're a semiconductor company and your customers can deploy faster, you're going to sell more chips. It's win-win-win for everybody. And this is what we call the Edge AI maturity matrix. So essentially what we're doing for our semiconductor customers is we're getting their model zoo maturity in line with their AI processor maturity, getting them to top right, faster time to market for their customers. And we do that through Deep Light models as a service for our semiconductor customers, Deep Light Studio for end users, and we even have our own proprietary detection and segmentation model that we bundle into the models as a service offering. This is the founding team. I've got my co-founders at the back of the room there, Sud and Asan. We're a Toronto-based deep tech company, venture-backed, cash flow positive, and we're very excited to talk to you if you are an end user looking to deploy an Edge AI model, if you're a semiconductor company launching an NPU, or if you're a Series A investor looking for your next 10-banger. Give us a call.
Thank you so much, Nick. Way to close us out. Wasn't that awesome? All right, so for our final audience question, what real-world AI use cases can be solved with your solution?
Yeah, I mean, basically any type of application that you want to run AI on a constrained device or hardware, where we've got applications, for example, I've been using this sort of this new class of processors, these neural processing units as an example, for my talk today. But we've actually run our optimization process to turn models that have no business running on something as small as a microcontroller, and we've got applications that can run on tiny, tiny microcontrollers, literally like the size of a fingernail, which can be deployed on all kinds of interesting applications. We've got one collaboration we're doing in Norway right now. It's an autonomous mobile robot for factory floor operations, and right now they have an ultrasonic sensor, so they can detect if there's something in front of the robot, but they don't know what it is. So they want to put a camera on that and run computer vision, but they have a very small, limited processor on that robot, and that's what we're helping them to do, to get that computer vision model deployed onto that robot.
Amazing. Very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
I don't want to leave.
You don't have to leave. I'll just take this. Thank you so much. All right, so one more round of applause for Nick and all of our presenters today. Thank you all so much. So that concludes our demo day. On behalf of myself, Alice, the whole Google team, and everyone who made this program possible, a sincere thank you to each and every one of you in the room and tuning in online. Thank you to our Canadian startups that joined our program this year, and your outstanding teams behind you. Truly congrats on an amazing demo day. It was amazing and so fantastic to work with you the last 10 weeks. Thank you to all of our speakers, many of our mentors, some who are in this room right now who shared their time to the program, our partners and other ecosystem builders who are doing amazing work in support of Canadian founders. And of course, a big thanks again to each and every one of you for joining us today and for supporting our 2024 cohort. So a few final asks from me. Please engage with our programs. Connect with our founders. Share this demo day with your network. Rewatch it yourselves. By engaging, you're increasing the support for the Canadian startup ecosystem. And if you'd like an introduction to any of the companies, feel free to email me or my team at gfsa-ca-team@google.com. So with that, one more huge congrats to the 14 companies of our Canadian cohort. I'm so excited to see what you get up to next. And with that, that's it, folks. Have a great one, and we'll see you in 2025.